Hi witches, and welcome to a witch's guide to full moons. As you guys know, I have really enjoyed chatting about each of the moons every month, and this year I really wanted to kind of standardize all my videos and update each one of the past year's kind of guides, as I wanted to go a little bit more in depth, as well as use this project as a way for me to fill out my own grimoire, so stay tuned for that for sure. Now for today we are going to be discussing the full snow moon in Leo, which is coming up this Sunday, February 5th, but it could be a little bit before or after depending on where you are. So let's start at the beginning and break it down starting with the name, right? So first things first, let's break it down starting with the name, the full snow moon in Leo. So the first half of that is the full snow moon, right? And throughout the year, every single full moon has different names, right? So the one that we have in February is most often called the snow moon. However, there are different names such as the hunger moon, the quickening moon, the ice moon, the eagle moon, the black bear moon, the storm moon, and many, many more. A really good source about alternative names is not only the Farmer's Almanac, but moon magic in general is the peculiar Brunette, who runs a fantastic blog. I'm gonna link it down below. She's a super good resource, as well as, like I said, the Farmer's Almanac, which is great for witches who may not be able to just like openly have witchcraft books. Most people are not going to be like super suspicious about the Farmer's Almanac, but there's a lot of really good info. So the Almanac tells us that it is known as the snow moon, so February's moon is known as the snow moon, due to the typically heavy snowfall that occurs in February. So on average, February is like the United States' snowiest month, according to the National Weather Service, and I would be really curious to know if that is the same for you, if you are in a different country, maybe not so much on the southern hemisphere. I highly doubt you guys are getting snow right now, but if you are, I would love to hear about it. Now, what does that really mean for us as spiritually as practitioners who want to connect with this moon? So the snow moon usually falls around Imbolc. So we kind of talked about that last week. If you want, you can totally go review. And I find that, as with many of our holidays, it's more about the energy of the season and less about celebrating on the specific day. So if you, like me, missed Imbolc a little bit because I was really sick with the stomach flu, the snow moon is a fantastic time to, celebrate if you want to, especially as a lunar witch. I tend to celebrate more for the moons anyways, but snow moon reminds us that though we may be wanting to kind of burst forth with life, it's time to start doing so kind of beneath the ground or in smaller ways. We might be feeling a sense of kind of cabin fever, especially near the end of February. I know I always do. I literally already was in the garden section, it's a mess, but I feel like this is just kind of the general energy around this time of year as well, especially in the northern hemisphere, I should say, and there's just so much potential for us to succeed and for us to set intentions for this lunation, which I think is awesome. That being said, this moon is also alternatively called the hunger moon, right? So I feel like it's good for us to kind of honor the struggles that we've gone through this winter and really gather our strength to kind of push through until spring. So you guys can totally do it, whether you're feeling excited or kind of worn out by winter. Just know that, we are at least halfway through and spring is soon to be here. Yes. Let's touch on the astrology of this moon. And I say touch on astrology because, as you guys know, it is not my realm of expertise, but I'm definitely using this series as a way to continue my studies because I really believe that, to be a witch and to do kind of the stuff that I do, I always want to be educating myself. So, the full moon is always ruled by the sign that is opposite of the present sun sign. So because we are currently in Aquarius season, which is the present sun sign, and a very happy birthday to all of my wonderful Aquarians. My mom is an Aquarius, so yes. But anyways, the full snow moon is ruled by the sign of Leo, and that's the sign the sun's going to be in about 6 months. So if you have August birthdays, we'll see you then. Now, the sign of Leo is a fixed fire sign represented by the symbol of a lion, and is in fact ruled by the planet of the sun. And being a fire sign, this Leo full moon can help us connect with our passions and our self-confidence. So those are really big themes that I feel like pertain to this specific full moon. Now, let's consider kind of that animal of the lion, that symbol, right? The king of the jungle. The lion is a figure that we all know and kind of respect, sometimes even based off of roar alone, right? The lion teaches us to take pride in ourselves and to step into our own power. Being a fire sign, Leo specifically, does ask us to be passionate and kind of roar our own praises from the mountaintop. So if you can really connect with that energy, I encourage you to. Absolutely. So I know that is all well and good, and we talked about a bunch of energetic stuff, but let's talk about practical magic, since that is literally my favorite topic. So let's get into some correspondences. First, let's review our spiritual intentions that we kind of touched on earlier. So for the full snow moon in Leo, I would recommend focusing on self-confidence, strength, transformation and transition, again, some of that Imbolc energy, intention setting, awakening, surrender, rest, creativity, and change. So again, a lot of things that are associated with Imbolc. I would carry on and carry on your celebrations even into this full moon if you feel called to. The beauty of pagan spiritualities is, again, you don't have to just, contain your celebrations to that one day. So if you're feeling called to, I encourage you to celebrate. Now, for novice practitioners or practitioners who may not be able to practice openly, but also for altar cloths and other decor, I really encourage you to use color magic. Now, when I'm going out into nature, primarily I'm seeing a lot of gray right now, but also, black, white, and silver for representation of the moon. I would also maybe include pinks, purples, light blues, maybe light yellows or pastels, or whatever colors that you would use to celebrate Imbolc as well. So definitely feel free to sprinkle in those colors. I'm not going to say no to that, right? Moving right along, let's chat about some symbols that you can use to decorate your altar. Symbols such as lions, maybe hibernating animals that, are starting to awaken perhaps. Lunar imagery such as the triple moon symbol or perhaps the full moon. Fire, candles, light, and snow are all very much associated with this full moon as well as with Imbolc. So again, you don't have to do too much craziness for setting up your altar if you don't want to. I would also recommend using the first blossoms of spring perhaps, as well as this is when I would start using some fertility symbolism if that is something that you are interested in bringing into your life, using like phallic or yonic symbols. Again, I know that's kind of weird for this specific full moon, but I feel like as we are starting to enter into springtime, that theme of fertility really is going to come to the forefront. So if you are setting your intention, if you are wanting to do fertility magic or prosperity magic, whatever that is, if you're setting your intention, consider having, symbolism associated with that intention on your altar as well. So it could be anything, but fertility symbolism is super cool. Now, for all of my spellcrafters, green witches, alchemists, etc., let's talk about some herbs and crystals, which is always my favorite thing because who doesn't like shinies, right? Now, in general, we want to select herbs to use that are associated with our spiritual correspondences. So in the case of the full moon, we're talking like confidence, cleansing, creativity, and you could also use herbs that are, ruled by the same planet or the same element as the astrological association. So, for example, I know that was a lot of words. For the full snow moon in Leo, we're going to be using herbs that are associated with the sun or ruled by the sun or ruled by the element of fire. Now, for example, of all of the things that we just talked about, including confidence, cleansing, this is even some beauty and love magic as well. I included some examples, but some examples of herbs you might want to use include avocado, catnip, flax, borage, columbine, mullein, thyme, yarrow, hyacinth, lavender, St. John's wort, but be careful if you're on an SSRI, rosemary, bay leaves, carnations, mugwort, thistle, allspice, angelica, basil, cinnamon, clove, dill, cactus, garlic, frankincense, juniper, marigold, pine, oak, orange, hyssop, rowan, sunflower, and wormwood. I did not realize I put that many down. I got really excited. So anyways, those are some of the herbs that you can definitely use. I really encourage you guys to use what you have on hand, or what you can find in nature as well. It's always kind of a nice touch. As for crystals, we're going to use a similar set of logic, matching up stones that correspond with the colors of this moon, as well as some of the spiritual intentions. So as always, for the full snow moon, maybe considering things such as onyx, obsidian, selenite, any sort of clear crystal such as clear quartz, rose quartz, amethyst, citrine. I really like blue lace agate. That's like literally one of my favorite crystals. It's just so pretty. Carnelian, pyrite, etc. Anything that really makes you think of, you know, snow or possibly Leo, Imbolc, anything that you were using for that as well is perfectly fine. Now, finally, let's apply all of these tools and concepts that we have to the real world, right? With some practical magic and spell work ideas that you can use to celebrate this full moon. Now, number one being it is in the sign of Leo, I absolutely love glamour magic. So if you are looking for, you know, an excuse, shall we say, to do a ritual bath or some sort of beauty routine, absolutely go for it. Leo loves you to be luxurious for sure. Another thing that I would recommend in this same kind of branch is rest. Now, if you think of cats, they're always like napping in the sun. I encourage you to take on that cat-like energy, that lion or lioness energy, whatever you are tapping into, and just have a nice time taking a nap in the warmth, right? Next, I really encourage you guys again to celebrate Imbolc. And again, I am going to be doing this during the full moon myself because I was just like really sick and I really wanted to have something a little bit more formal. So that's what I'll be doing. If you would like to, I recommend working on any sort of creative projects, maybe finishing things up from the winter time or starting something new for the spring. You can make moon water, but specifically with using snow to honor the full snow moon. And the melting of the snow kind of, for me, represents transition from winter into spring. And it's a really great way to kind of like time your ritual. So like, you're like, I will start the ritual when, you know, the snow is all, you know, snowy, and then I will end the ritual when it's all melted. Next, because Valentine's Day is going to be coming up, you could absolutely spend some time showing some affection to your partner in whatever way you see fit. This is a great time for you to plant your seeds, either physically or metaphorical seeds of intention. And I know before anyone gets mad, oh my gosh, you're supposed to set your intentions on the new moon. You can if you want, but I really feel like this full moon also has a great amount of potential for intention setting. And as a reminder, full moons are great for any sort of spell work, including intention setting. So don't be so rigid in your practice. It's a-okay. Don't worry about it. Next, I recommend that you cleanse your space and yourself if you haven't yet this year. Maybe make a hearty meal in your hearth, something warm, something good, and something that just serves you. It doesn't necessarily have to be super healthy to be hearty, right? It's just what heals you. And then finally, to dress in a way that makes you feel comfortable and confident, because I feel like, you know, the way you present yourself to the world can really change your mood. So I encourage you to dress in a way that makes you feel happy. That is my little guide to celebrating the full snow moon in Leo. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!